talking about ellipses and objects. So we've got many ellipses in our drawing here because we have cylindrical objects. And the cylindrical object is kind of, you're going to see it everywhere if you look around in nature. Here's what's going to happen once you start drawing. You're going to notice more. Because drawing is about, yes, this work that we're trying to do to convey these objects in this space onto this surface, but it's also about just having a heightened sense of perception in the world. And the more you understand that and the stronger those skills are, the better interior designer you're going to be, the better painter you're going to be, the better graphic designer you're going to be. This is just all critical, important stuff in foundations. That's why everybody takes drawing one. We're learning really to look and learning to see. So I'm going to get in my drawing posture again. Try to loosen up. And I'm going to start developing these objects a little bit more carefully. So the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to think about how wide the top of my jug is. And I'm going to kind of measure from the edge of the top ellipse down to the bottom. And it's going to tell me a little bit more about what this jug is doing. So I'm trying to find this ellipse up here, this curve up here. All right, so just when I look at it, I can see it's round. It has a little bit of this kind of shape to it, but I want to make sure that I'm seeing the right amount of this. Remember when we were over at the board and I was explaining this to you? As something is further away from your eye level, either up or down, you're going to see more roundness the further it goes away, okay? So I have a sort of a series of ellipses. Any cylindrical object or vessel that has roundness to it is a series of ellipses. So, you know, this bottle is going to have a series of ellipses through it that will help me articulate, figure out what the shape of it is. The jug is the same kind of situation. Really, if you want to get down to it, the orange has some ellipses in it too because it's not a perfect circle. So I'm going to measure the top ellipse because it's the clearest one. I can see both the front and the back. Remember, we're on the board and we're talking about the perspective because the back of that jug is further away from me than the front. If I'm thinking about that box that I'm looking at straight on, the back of the ellipse is going to be further away. Now, something I'm going to have you do when you're in class is this. I'm going to take a pencil and I'm going to put it right on this axis of the jug, okay? That's the middle of the jug, from the handle to the spout. If you look on either side directly on top of it, you can see it's divided directly in half. Now this will blow your mind. When you step away from it, it is going to demonstrate exactly what I was talking about with the second half, which you know is fully half of that jug, but the second half and the front half looking totally different in terms of their size. And that's why we will often make an ellipse bigger than what it actually is in life, is because we are so tuned to kind of think that we already know what an object is doing. But part of what drawing is about is making an investigation. So when you need to find out what's really happening with the still life, just come up to it, look at it from a different angle. You know, do something like this where you put a pencil there. If you need to find out what the relationship between this fake orange and this green bottle is, put the pencil there and step back. But it's all about your perspective. So I find that line. Now here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to use that line, I'm going to measure that line, and I'm going to use it as a trick to get the sort of angle of what's happening with the relationship between the jug handle and the pencil, or the spout. So now I kind of know like where the spout versus the handle is going to sit. And I can already see that this is looking smaller. This kind of dimension here is looking smaller than that. Now I can measure it too. So I can take a measurement. I'm comparing this to this, the front half to the back half of the ellipse. I can take a measurement and I can see that the front half of the ellipse, from where the pencil, which indicates the middle of the ellipse, to the front half to the middle of the jar, the jug, is about 2/3 bigger, you know, than this part here. So I'm going to adjust my drawing accordingly. Okay? Then I'm going to measure the whole ellipse from this here to this here, from where the perspective of my drawing, the perspective of where I'm standing. I'm going to take that measurement from the widest part. So I'm kind of like bisecting this, taking this measurement, and I'm going to compare it to the whole height of the jug. Okay? This is going to be another indication not only of like what the ellipse is doing, but how big the jug is itself. So I get 1 for the width of, or the height of the ellipse, 2, about 3. So this measurement has to go into this 3 times, which tells me that either this ellipse isn't big enough or I need to bring that line up a little bit. And I actually think it's bringing this line up here, the bottom of the jug. So 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. So now I know more about my jug because I've made that investigation, and I'm pretty confident that this is the perspective of that ellipse. Okay? I know my spout's going to come out here, and I know my handle's going to begin from this line over here. So I can start to kind of build that out, figure out where that fits in. That make sense? Okay, ellipses.